a big college. The rain fell heavily over the enormous city of Westbridge. Cars rushed through glowing streets while tall buildings disappeared behind gray clouds. At the center of the city stood the most famous university in the country, Westbridge International College. Its campus stretched across hills, gardens, libraries, stadiums, and ancient stone buildings covered with ivy. Thousands of students from different countries dreamed of studying there. Some came to become doctors, some wanted to become scientists, writers, or engineers, and others simply wanted a new beginning. Among those students was a quiet girl named Amelia Carter. She had earned a scholarship because of her intelligence and hard work. Her parents were proud but worried at the same time. The people were richer, smarter, and more confident than anyone Amelia had ever known. As the taxi stopped outside the giant entrance gate, Amelia stared nervously at the huge campus. Students walked everywhere carrying books and coffee cups while laughter echoed through the air. Massive fountains sparkled beneath the cloudy sky, and the college looked more like a royal palace than a university. Amelia quietly whispered to herself, "What if I don't belong here?" The taxi driver smiled kindly. "Everyone feels that way on the first day." Amelia took a deep breath and stepped outside with her suitcase, and her new life had officially begun. The student dormitory was crowded and noisy. Music played loudly from several rooms while students introduced themselves excitedly in the hallway. Amelia carried her suitcase toward room 214. When she opened the door, she found another girl already sitting beside the window reading a book. Her dark curly hair rested over her shoulders while round glasses covered her sharp green eyes. She looked up calmly. "You must be my roommate." Amelia nodded awkwardly. "Yes, I'm Amelia." The girl smiled softly. "I'm Sophia Bennett." Unlike many students, Sophia did not seem arrogant or overly energetic. She seemed intelligent and peaceful. Books covered nearly half her desk already. Amelia laughed nervously. "You really like reading." Sophia closed her book carefully. "It helps me escape reality sometimes." That sentence somehow made Amelia feel less nervous immediately. The two girls spent the evening arranging their room and discussing their lives. Sophia came from London while Amelia came from a small farming village. Despite their different backgrounds, they quickly became comfortable with each other. Outside, rain continued falling softly across the glowing campus, and inside room 214, an unexpected friendship quietly began. The first week at Westbridge was overwhelming. The classrooms were enormous while the professors spoke rapidly and expected students to understand everything immediately. Amelia often felt lost, and some students already seemed incredibly experienced and talented. One afternoon, during an advanced literature lecture, Professor Harrison entered the classroom carrying a thick stack of papers. The entire room instantly became silent. Professor Harrison was famous for being strict and difficult, and he adjusted his glasses before speaking slowly. "Your first assignment will determine 20% of your final grade." Groans filled the classroom immediately, but the professor ignored them completely. "You will write an original analytical essay about human ambition in modern society." Amelia swallowed nervously as she loved literature, but this college felt far more competitive than she expected. After class, students gathered anxiously outside discussing the assignment. Sophia noticed Amelia's worried expression immediately. "You look terrified." Amelia sighed deeply. "What if I'm not smart enough for this place?" Sophia smiled gently. "Everyone here feels pressure. Some people just hide it better." Those words stayed in Amelia's mind for the rest of the day. Weeks passed quickly, and Amelia slowly adjusted to college life. She spent long nights inside the giant library studying with Sophia. Tall wooden shelves stretched endlessly beneath golden lights while rain often tapped softly against the giant windows. Sometimes Amelia would forget the outside world completely while sitting there. One evening, while searching for a history book, Amelia accidentally bumped into a tall student carrying several papers. The papers flew everywhere across the floor. "Oh no, I'm so sorry." The boy laughed softly while kneeling to collect them. "It's all right. I should probably stop walking while reading." Amelia helped him gather the papers carefully, and his name was Daniel Reed. Daniel studied architecture and was known for being one of the top students in the college. Unlike many talented students, however, he seemed surprisingly humble. "You're Amelia, right?" Daniel asked, and she looked surprised. "You know my name?" Daniel smiled slightly. "Professor Harrison mentioned your essay in class yesterday. Apparently it impressed him." Amelia blinked in disbelief as Professor Harrison almost never praised students. Daniel handed her one of the books gently. "You're doing better than you think." For some reason, those simple words made Amelia's entire week brighter. As winter arrived, the college transformed beautifully. Snow covered the gardens while glowing lights decorated every building across campus. Students drank hot chocolate while preparing for final examinations, and stress filled nearly every classroom and dormitory. Amelia studied harder than ever before, and some nights she barely slept at all. Sophia often forced her to take breaks and eat properly. One freezing evening, Amelia sat alone outside the library staring at the snowy campus, and she looked exhausted and emotionally drained. Daniel noticed her immediately while passing nearby. "You look like someone fighting a war." Amelia laughed weakly. "Exams are a war." Daniel sat beside her quietly, and for several moments, neither spoke. Snowflakes drifted slowly through the cold air around them. Finally, Daniel asked softly, "Why do you work so hard?" Amelia looked toward the glowing college buildings. "Because my parents sacrificed everything to send me here." Her voice became quieter. "I can't disappoint them." Daniel watched her carefully before replying, "You know something strange? You're probably one of the strongest people in this college. You just don't realize it yet." Amelia looked away quickly, pretending the cold wind caused the sudden emotion in her eyes. Months passed and spring finally arrived across Westbridge campus. Flowers bloomed beside the stone pathways while students relaxed on the green lawns between classes. The atmosphere felt lighter and happier again. One afternoon, the college announced an important competition where students from every department would present innovative ideas capable of improving society. The winning team would receive international recognition and a large scholarship grant. Sophia immediately became interested. "We should participate." Amelia nearly choked on her coffee. "We?" Sophia nodded confidently. "You're brilliant at research and writing. Daniel understands design and engineering, and I'm good at organization." Amelia stared at her in shock. "That sounds terrifying." Sophia smiled calmly. "Exactly why we should do it." After days of discussion, the three students finally formed a team. They decided to create an educational project focused on helping underprivileged children access learning resources online. The project required endless effort, and they worked late nights inside classrooms and libraries preparing presentations, research, and digital models. At times, stress caused arguments between them as Daniel became frustrated with technical problems, while Amelia worried constantly about failing publicly. But Sophia always managed to calm everyone down. "You don't build something meaningful without chaos first." The competition day finally arrived. Hundreds of students gathered inside the enormous university auditorium. Bright lights illuminated the giant stage while professors and important guests filled the front rows. Amelia's hands trembled badly backstage. "I can't do this." Sophia held her shoulders firmly. "Yes, you can." Daniel smiled reassuringly beside them. "We're a team, remember?" When their names were announced, the three students walked onto the stage together. The massive audience suddenly felt terrifying, and for one moment Amelia forgot every word she had prepared. Then she looked toward Sophia and Daniel, and both smiled encouragingly. Slowly, Amelia took a breath and began speaking. As the presentation continued, her nervousness gradually disappeared, and she spoke passionately about education, opportunity, and equality. Daniel demonstrated the technical design while Sophia explained the organizational system perfectly. By the end of the presentation, the entire auditorium had become silent. Then suddenly, huge applause erupted everywhere, and Professor Harrison himself stood clapping proudly near the front row. Amelia could barely believe what was happening, and for the first time since arriving at Westbridge, she truly felt like she belonged there. Later that evening, students celebrated across the campus gardens beneath glowing lanterns and music. The competition winners were finally announced. Third place passed and second place passed. Amelia squeezed Sophia's hand nervously. Then the dean smiled toward the audience. And first place goes to Team Westbridge Vision. For several seconds, Amelia completely froze. Sophia screamed happily while Daniel laughed in disbelief, and the crowd applauded loudly around them. As they walked toward the stage together, Amelia suddenly remembered the frightened girl who once stood outside the college gate wondering if she belonged there. Now she knew the answer clearly. She did belong there. Not because she was perfect or because she never failed, but because she refused to give up despite her fears. Late that night, Amelia sat alone beside the campus fountain, watching lights reflect across the water. The enormous college no longer felt frightening anymore. It felt like home. Sophia and Daniel eventually joined her quietly. The three friends sat together beneath the peaceful spring sky. Daniel smiled softly. "You know, one day we'll probably miss this place." Sophia laughed gently. "We're still students here." "Exactly," Daniel replied. "That's why we should enjoy it while it lasts." Amelia looked toward the glowing buildings of Westbridge International College. Students still walked across campus laughing and dreaming about the future. And somewhere deep inside her heart, Amelia realized something important at last. A big college was not only about classes, grades, or success. It was about friendships, courage, mistakes, memories, and discovering who you truly are. And for Amelia Carter, that journey had only just begun.